Sailors knew the legend, a ghost ship, the Serpent's Kiss, doomed by greed, lost in a storm a century ago. Whispered stories passed down through generations, a warning. Never approach the vessel. If spotted, turn back. Some things are best left undisturbed. The Serpent's Kiss. A phantom, they said, appearing in the fog, luring ships to their doom. No survivors, only tales whispered in hushed tones. A chill down the spine, a reminder of the sea's unforgiving nature and the horrors that lurk beneath its surface. The salty dog cut through the waves, its hull slicing through the choppy waters with determination. A seasoned crew, hardened by the relentless sea, worked tirelessly on deck. Captain Miller, eyes narrowed and focused, was the first to spot it. A shape in the distance, barely visible under the cloudy sky. It was unusual, out of place in the vast expanse of the ocean. Excitement rippled through the crew like an electric current. A salvage operation was on the horizon. Their fortune awaited. "Full sail!" Miller bellowed, his voice carrying over the wind. The crew responded with practiced ease, their movements synchronized from years of experience. The salty dog surged forward, cutting through the waves with renewed vigor. Anticipation hung heavy in the air, each man envisioning the riches that awaited them. They were unaware of the darkness that awaited them, the ominous clouds forming in the sky. The prize on the horizon was no ordinary find. It was shrouded in mystery. It was a nightmare in disguise, an eerie presence that sent shivers down their spines. As they drew closer, the shape solidified, revealing more details. A ship, massive, old. Its presence was imposing. Its sails were tattered remnants, flapping weakly in the wind. The name on the hull, barely visible through the grime and age. The Serpent's Kiss. A chill ran down Miller's spine. He pushed it aside, greed overpowering caution. This was their chance at a fortune. He wouldn't be deterred by an old sailor's tale. Determined, he pressed on, ignoring the warnings that echoed in his mind. The salty dog pulled alongside the ghost ship. Silence hung heavy in the air, an unnatural stillness. No creaking timbers, no seagulls circling overhead, just an unsettling quiet. They boarded the Serpent's Kiss. Their boots echoed on the rotting deck, each step a drumbeat of dread. The air grew colder, a smell of mildew and decay permeated everything. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, the excitement from before gone, replaced by a creeping unease. Something wasn't right. This ship, it felt wrong, like a predator's open maw, inviting them in. The ship was eerily preserved, as if frozen in time. Cobwebs draped everything, dust coated the surfaces, and an unnatural silence persisted, broken only by the sound of their own breathing. They ventured deeper, into the bowels of the ship, their unease growing with each step. They were not alone. The first sign was a whisper. A name called out from the shadows, then a flicker of movement, a shape in the darkness. Eyes glowed an eerie green. The crew froze. Fear gripped them. This was no ordinary ship. This was a place of nightmares. A guttural growl echoed through the ship. Then figures began to emerge, spectral figures, the crew of the Serpent's Kiss, dead, but not gone. Their eyes burned with an unholy light, their skin pale and rotting. They moved with an unnatural grace, their hands outstretched, reaching for the living. Panic seized the crew. They stumbled back, their minds reeling. This wasn't possible. Ghosts? It was just a story, a sailor's tale. But the terror in their hearts told them otherwise. They were trapped, hunted by something ancient and evil. There would be no escape. The first mate screamed. A spectral hand plunged into his chest. His heart ripped from his body. Blood splattered the deck. The smell of iron filled the air. The other sailors scattered, desperately searching for an escape. But there was none. The ghostly crew advanced, their movements swift and deadly. Each strike precise and brutal. More screams, more blood. The once pristine deck now painted crimson, the air thick with the stench of death. The salty dog had become a slaughterhouse. Miller stumbled back against the railing, his eyes wide with terror. He watched his crew picked off one by one, their screams echoing in his ears. He knew this was the end. He had led them to their deaths, blinded by greed. Now, he would pay the price. The remaining crew fought with the desperation of the doomed, but they were outmatched, outnumbered. Their weapons, though wielded with all their might, seemed to pass through the ghostly figures as if they were mere shadows. The ghostly crew, fueled by a century of rage and despair, were relentless. Their eyes glowed with an unholy light, and their movements were swift and deadly, like a storm of vengeance. They tore through the living with terrifying ease, leaving a trail of carnage in their wake. Each strike was precise, each attack merciless, as if they had rehearsed this macabre dance for centuries. One by one, the crew of the Salty Dog fell, their bodies left to rot on the blood-soaked deck. The ship, once a vessel of hope and adventure, now a floating graveyard. Their souls claimed by the Serpent's kiss. The spectral figures absorbed the essence of the fallen, growing stronger with each soul taken. The air crackled with an unnatural energy. It was as if the very fabric of reality was being torn apart by the malevolent forces at play. The cries of the dying mingled with the triumphant roars of the undead, a symphony of horror. The sound echoed through the night, a chilling reminder of the fate that awaited any who dared to challenge the cursed crew. Miller was the last one left. His heart pounded in his chest as he looked around at the devastation. He stood alone on the deck, surrounded by the ghostly figures of his crew. Their spectral forms flickered in the dim light, a haunting reminder of what they once were. Their lifeless eyes stared back at him, accusing. Each gaze a silent condemnation, a reminder of his failure. He had brought them to this. His decisions, his leadership, had led them to this cursed fate, and now he would join them. There was no escape, no redemption. Only the cold embrace of the spectral crew awaited him, trapped forever on this cursed ship. The Salty Dog sailed into the mist, a ghostly vessel lost to time, its crew forever bound to the Serpent's kiss. The spectral captain approached Miller. His hand, skeletal and cold, gripped Miller's arm. His touch sent a jolt of icy terror through Miller's body. He looked into the captain's eyes, saw the depths of his torment and the promise of an eternity of suffering. He was dragged towards the railing, his feet scraping against the blood-soaked deck. He struggled, but his resistance was futile. He was no match for the strength of the undead. He was pulled to the edge of the ship. The churning water below beckoned him. He looked down into the black abyss. The water was alive with the faces of the drowned. Their eyes glowed faintly in the depths, reaching out to him, welcoming him to his watery grave. He closed his eyes, accepting his fate. Section 8. A chorus of screams. The spectral captain let out a bone-chilling laugh. It echoed through the night, joined by the chorus of screams from the drowned below. A symphony of suffering, a testament to the evil that clung to the Serpent's kiss. Miller was hurled over the railing. He plunged into the icy water. The shock stole his breath. He sank beneath the waves, surrounded by the ghostly figures of the drowned. Their cold, dead hands reached for him, pulling him deeper. He struggled against their grasp, but his efforts were weak, futile. The water filled his lungs. He choked, his vision blurred. The screams of the drowned grew louder, filling his head, dragging him down into the darkness. Section 9. Adrift in darkness. The Salty Dog drifted on the open water, empty, silent, a ghost ship tethered to another, bound by death and despair. The rising sun cast an eerie glow on the blood-soaked deck, illuminating the carnage left behind, a gruesome testament to the legend. The Serpent's kiss was gone, vanished into the mist, taking its new victims with it, leaving no trace behind, except for the chilling silence that hung over the Salty Dog and the lingering scent of death. The legend was true, whispered warnings confirmed in the most horrifying way. The sea, once a source of livelihood, now held a new terror, a constant reminder of the price of greed and the horrors that lie beneath the waves. Section 10. Never truly gone. Out on the open water, sailors would tell the tale, a tale that sent shivers down the spine of even the bravest among them. The Salty Dog found adrift, empty, no sign of life, no trace of its crew, haunted by the memory of what transpired, the eerie silence of the sea, a constant reminder of the unknown fate, a chilling reminder of the Serpent's kiss, a ship whose name was whispered with dread, and the fate that awaited those who dared to seek her out. Many had tried, and many had failed. The legend lived on, passed down from one generation of sailors to the next, each retelling more terrifying than the last. A warning whispered on the wind, a cautionary tale for those who dared to listen, a chilling tale of greed, death, and the unforgiving nature of the sea, the ocean, a vast and merciless expanse. The Serpent's kiss may have disappeared, but her reign of terror was far from over. Her presence still felt in the darkest corners of the sea. For some things never truly die. they remain lurking in the shadows. They linger in the shadows, waiting for their next victims, ever patient, ever watchful, lured by the promise of riches, unaware of the price they will pay. The allure of gold blinding them to the danger, the serpent's kiss sailed on, a ghostly apparition in the moonlight, a phantom in the mist, a specter that could not be escaped, forever claiming souls for her watery grave, an eternal curse, a never-ending nightmare. Section 11. Do you dare seek more? The depths hold countless tales of horror, whispers of the macabre, stories that chill you to the bone. Are you brave enough to delve deeper? To explore the darkest corners of the ocean? To confront the nightmares that lie beneath? Follow me if you dare. I'll guide you through the abyss, show you the horrors that await. But be warned, once you've seen what lurks below, you can never unsee it. The depths are always listening, watching, waiting.